This video is all about firsts. This is my first dining table, my first full project in this shop. Heck, I even became a first-time dad throughout this build. Now S2S lumber is a little new to me, but just like how we see most people do it here on YouTube, we'll go ahead and start by breaking down our lumber. Now why don't we discuss the lumber? Here we're milling up some 8/4 poplar. Initially we had planned on the 8/4 ash, but for whatever reason in rural Nebraska, ash is a hot commodity. Now I was always told when you had your first kid, you would never be ready. Of course I chose not to believe that, thinking I knew everything that there was already. This was also my first time using a track saw to square up the sides of my boards. Now I have to say, for the first time, that didn't come out too bad. Let's go ahead and run them through the table saw and finish up the milling process. Now I was originally commissioned to build this piece when I was in my larger shop. That being said, the 50-inch round tabletop would prove to be a struggle to move in this smaller space. Now, seeing that this is my first dining table and the largest tabletop I've ever glued up, I went ahead and used dowels for alignment aids. Now please, I already know, so don't yell at me in the comments. They're only for alignment and no structure. Now I can't remember where I learned this trick, but when using dowel joinery, if you chamfer your holes, you're allowed to have a little bit of wiggle room in your joints. Now on that note of never being ready, I definitely underestimated how much work it was going to take to build a dining table. Now seeing that this thing is huge, I went ahead and took every precaution. I'm going to go ahead and glue up this tabletop in 2 separate parts. Looking back, I probably should have made a template for cutting out the base parts, but like they say, hindsight is 20/20, and all I could see was track saw. Now please don't yell at me. I didn't forget those sleeves. Now with that last cut, we're left with little more than a doorstop. Now on to my favorite part, hand planing. Now I think you guys really get it by now. Of course, with the table-based joinery, I really wanted to try something new. Now I wanted to take a swing at floating mortise and tenon using a trim router. But not just any trim router, I'm using a cordless Ryobi trim router. Here you can see my MightyPlungeBase. And if you are interested in supporting the channel, you can go ahead and check it out on my Etsy. I think it's safe to say that it was a much needed accessory, and it's been well received. Now it started to get awfully cold here in the shop. Let's go ahead and heat up the glue. Now for the base glue up, pray for me. Now you can go check my Instagram and see that there is over 100 posts of different things that I've worked on. And if you know me, you know that I'm a father figure to my little brothers. It's safe to say that even though our experiences shape us, there'll always be things that challenge us. Whether it is raising my first or building my first dining table, each come with their own sets of challenges. I said it in my last video and I'll say it again, I really am much more of a storyteller than I am a woodworker. I think I always try and find some kind of meeting between the builds that I'm currently working on and the experiences I'm going through. Between cutting boards and other small home goods, building a significant piece of furniture is a rite of passage for many woodworkers. I think I'd have to say that this dining table was mine. While I was given some guidelines to the build, the client gave me the opportunity to take on this deco style art form that I had wanted to try for a very long time. I can't be the only one who likes to dance while sanding. Go ahead and drop a comment down below and see if you can guess what I'm jamming to. Now yes, I know, tabletops don't need C-channel, but the way I look at it, it's just like a good shoe is complemented by a good insole. This will do the same. Now you guys don't get that joke, but the client and I do. From shop fan to propane heater, you may have noticed the seasons changing. This dining table took way longer than expected, but I think the projects that really matter always do. Between delivering this piece and my girl's first birthday, there was only a week's difference in time. Now this dining table was important, but so was taking care of my little girl. I think that's well enough reason for this piece taking a little longer than it should have. The closer I got to completing this table, the more I wanted to build one for my family. Soon I'll have my little one sitting next to us in her little high chair eating with us. Enough of the philosophical stuff. Let's get back to the build. Here we're going to use our router plane and cut a small groove for the legs to join together. Here I wisened up and decided to make an actual template for the accent pieces on the legs. These parts right here, these little cutouts, are what I think really made the table. Here you can see that the MightyPlungeBase is also really good for some light flush trimming applications. Didn't know I looked that much like a cholo. This is great. I think it's funny because earlier I asked you to pray for me. Little did I know that this glue up was going to be the stressful one. So much so that I decided to stop recording and get it done. Now that I can relax after a stressful glue up, here we can get the final touches done on the table base.
So while I was a father figure to my two younger brothers, and I built many pieces of furniture in the past, I'm humbled to say that between building my first and raising my first, it's a lot more work than I thought.
Now this here is why it was okay that we ended up going with poplar. We're going to be staining this thing with India ink, just to give it that jet black look. Now for the finish, we decided to go with a few coats of this satin wipe-on polyurethane. I really like something like this because it's not going to show every little scratch like something super shiny would. And just like Chris over at 4Eyes Furniture has said, the more things change, the more things stay the same. And although I had more than enough experience coming into these projects, the challenges still took me.